And we're live.
Good afternoon or good evening. I am Chair Bobette Mays, and I would like to welcome you to the June 27, 2022 Neighborhood Advisory Committee virtual meeting. We will now call our meeting to order. The committee consists of 9 members, all appointed by the City Council with representation from the specific community sectors. Members shall be residents of the city or the city's extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction and reflect the socioeconomic diversity of Asheville. The term of office is 3 years. The committee was established to advise the City Council on neighborhoods within the city of Asheville zoning and planning jurisdiction. The committee shall have the following powers and duties: develop rules and bylaws for the conduct of its business, including but not limited to meeting schedules, officers, voting, and subcommittees. Develop a plan to strengthen neighborhood identity and resilience and to facilitate communication and cooperation between Asheville neighborhoods and city offices. Develop benchmarks and standards by which progress towards implementing the plan can be measured, and work on specific and special projects that are consistent with the goals of the committee as assigned or directed by the City Council. All committee members and staff are participating virtually. We appreciate your patience as we work through committee meetings a bit differently. We're streaming live on our virtual engagement hub, which is accessible through the virtual engagement hub link on the front page of the city website and also linked on the committee page. We also have an option for the public to listen live by phone by dialing 855-925-2801 and entering meeting code 9247. For those of you who plan to speak during our live public comment today, you will need to hit 3 to be put in the speaker queue. For those of you out there with us today, again, welcome. I'm going to go through and introduce to all the committee members and staff who are participating. I would just like for you, when I call your name, just to say your full name and give a brief what zip code that you are, a community that you're from. Sharon?
Hi, everybody. Sharon Summerall, Vice Chair, 28805.
Peter?
Well, I'm Peter Abzug, at large, and I live in 28805 also.
Elizabeth?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Likas. I'm an at-large member, and I live in 28803.
Greta?
Hi, I'm Greta Bush. I'm an at-large member, and I live in 28805.
Carl?
Hi, I'm Carl Knight, and I live in 28801.
Is Mike Wassner here? Mike? Wendy?
I'm Wendy Hayner, and I represent 28804, and I live in 28804.
And Lucius? And Kim Roney is our city council liaison, and she usually sometimes she has a conflict, so I'm not going to say she may not be here, but she always listens to and will send to whatever information needs to go on to the city council. Also, we have in attendance Christina Israel, who is now part of us, and she'll be working with us as we go through our meeting today. And Dawa Hitch on vacation, so she's not with us today. I would also ask that, again, the committee members, if you would raise your hand to be acknowledged to speak, and please state your name each time you comment. Just a reminder, the public is listening on the phone, and this keeps them up to date on the order of the meeting and who is coming to speak. Has everyone had a chance to look at the the minutes from May 23rd? If so, can I get a motion that we will pass that?
Can I, may I speak?
Yes.
May I get my name corrected on the minutes? I'm Peter, not Paul.
Oh.
And my last name is ABZUG.
Okay.
So if that can be corrected for the.
All right.
All right.
So can I get
Thank you.
someone a motion for that we will accept the minutes with the changes that Peter, his name is changed from Paul to Peter and his last name is corrected. So if I can get somebody to give me a motion on that. Greta,
I make a motion that we accept the minutes with the change of letting Peter keep his real name.
can I get a second?
Sharon Summerall, I second.
Okay. The motion has been made by Greta and second by Sharon. All in favor? I'll go and you can give me an aye. Sharon,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Greta,
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
and did I get everybody? Did I get you, Carl?
You did.
Okay, so I got everybody. Sometimes I miss people, so I don't want, I don't want to do that. So we'll go on, and we'll just review the, just kind of look at how we're going to go down the agenda. Did everybody get a copy of the agenda for tonight? Hopefully you did. Okay. So, did we have any public comments?
There were no voicemails, emails, and there's currently not anyone on the line to speak for public comment.
Okay, we'll go on staff activities and updates by Christina.
All right. Thank you, Chair Mays and Vice Chair Summerall and committee members. Again, my name is Christina Israel, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager with the city, and it is my pleasure to be with you all this evening. The first update I have for you is on round 2 of our neighborhood matching grants. Applications are currently open, and the closing date for those is July 29th. And just to review, these are $5,000 grants that can be awarded to neighborhood associations or organizations that the neighborhoods then pledge a match for in the form of any combination of volunteer hours, in-kind donations, and cash fundraising. They are self-directed grants, and so the neighborhoods decide what's most important to them and how they want to apply the funds. And they have a year after they sign the agreement with the city to fully implement and complete their projects. Applications opened on June 20th, and I've received inquiries from the press and from neighbors who are hoping to learn more about the grants. And just as committee members, we hope that you'll help us to spread the word and send anyone with questions my way. You can also direct them to the neighborhood services section of the city's website, or just type neighborhood matching grants in the search bar to get there. You could also help us share the posts that have gone out on Facebook and Nextdoor if you use those platforms. Our internal project team will review the applications beginning the first week of August, and we will announce this year's grant recipients the week of August 15th. Does anybody have any questions about neighborhood matching grants before I go on to the second piece? Okay.
Have you received any yet? This is Wendy Hayner. Have you received any yet, Christina?
Yeah, we've had one application come through so far, but I've had probably 6 or 8 inquiries so far from folks reaching out and asking for either technical assistance to sort of determine if their project could be a good fit for the grant, or just, you know, they have a great vision for something and they just want to run it by me. So we have a great project team who can actually go out in the field and talk with people about things like any sort of permits that they might need, or, you know, the technical aspects of the grants. So thank you, Wendy. Okay, and then the second update is to let you know about Your Voice, Your Choice. This is an online opportunity for Asheville residents to stay connected to the city projects and initiatives that matter most to them. And it will also serve as a critical resource that we hope will bring missing voices into the conversation. To sign up, folks can visit the city's website and tap on the Engage tab in the top menu. This will take them to a page where they can read a description of the Your Voice, Your Choice project. When you're ready, you click sign up to go to the page where you select the projects that matter most to you. And you can also select if you would like your voice to be, if you would like to voice your lived experience in key demographic areas. They are BIPOC, LGBTQ+, youth, seniors, and those self-identified as disabled. We hope that the Neighborhood Advisory Committee will help us to share this opportunity throughout your neighborhoods and your networks. Any questions about that?
I would like to have that link again. How do we find that?
The easiest way, Wendy, is to go to asheville.nc.gov, the city's website, and click on the tab at the top of the page that says Engage. And that will take you to a page that gives you just a quick description of the project, and you click the sign up button.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Thank you, Christina. Let's go to the unfinished business. Is there anything, Greta, about the status report from the Neighborhood Volunteer of the Year Committee? Do you have anything to report? I know this is your last meeting with us, so
Yeah.
I want you to tell me something. What'd you say?
Okay. I said yes.
Okay.
This is my last meeting.
Do you have anything to report? Yeah, you were too excited about your last meeting.
I'm excited to have fewer meetings generally in my
I'm gonna
life.
get that way soon. Give me a year or two.
We have not met, but I can send, I mean, nothing really has changed since the last meeting. My only thought is that Jeremy created the form that we had all approved as a group in Gmail, I think. So Christina, I don't know if there's like a communications Gmail. I don't know what he used. So you're nodding. Does that sound like you've seen it?
I've looked for the form and I haven't been able to find it, but I have it on my list to check in with Dawa because she should be able to access it if he created it. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'll send you a link. I don't know if it works because I'm just pulling it from a URL. I can't seem to make it give me a link. But I can send you a screenshot so you know what it looks like, I guess. And then I'll just send you the Volunteer of the Year / Spotlight Word doc that we had come up with last July, just so you can see what's on it. Really, I mean, it's just, I think we're just waiting for the city to get it, you know, to do the parts that we couldn't do, like get it on the website and start collecting responses and whatnot. So I'm going to assume that the group is going to continue to meet after that's up and figure out the timeline by when, you know, we want to have quarterly spotlights and stuff. Go ahead, Sharon.
I forget, do we have a subcommittee on this? Is that who's been working on this?
Yeah, we were calling it a working group.
A working group?
Legal reasons, I don't know why.
Okay.
But
Yes,
yeah.
That's a yes, okay.
Yeah, it's Wendy, Elizabeth, Mike.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
remember now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Elizabeth?
We can't hear you, or I can't hear you.
I can't hear her.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a little bit of information. I'm a little confused on the process because I think last November or December, I joined the working group, and every month, I think we sort of say we're waiting on the form or something from Jeremy, but Jeremy's been gone for a while. So what can we go ahead and do in terms of, I don't know the process for how this has worked in the past, but it seems like it's pretty stalled.
It's very stalled.
Yeah. Is it out of our control? Is that it? Or is it just I'm missing something?
I think it's out of our control. We did everything we could. And then the form, Jeremy created the form, which was kind of the last piece because we wanted to make it easier for people to access and not have to like print out a PDF and write on it and scan it and all that. So it just needs to get linked to the city's, well, it needs to get linked to the city's website, and there needs to be like a press release to, you know, announce that this is a thing, which we wrote a press release to supply for the city. And then I had suggested that I could make graphics if the communications department was overwhelmed, but we wanted to supply images to give to neighborhood leaders so that they could post them on their social media pages. So I suppose that's something the committee could do if the communications department or whoever does the graphics at the city is, too busy. And kind of come up with whatever else you would want to put in like a social media toolkit. Another thing that we need from the city is a list of emails of all the neighborhood leaders, because I think that a more personalized email is important rather than just including it in the neighborhood newsletter. I think it's more likely to get read if it's, directed towards the neighborhood leaders. So yeah, just essentially the rollout, it needs to happen in conjunction with city staff.
Okay, thank you for that. I didn't know if there was some sort of time frame, like we can start, announcing it at different neighborhood things, but that sounds like all those pieces have to be put in place before we can do that. Okay.
Yeah, the plan
Thank you.
before Jeremy left was we were going to have a meeting with him. So
Mhm.
Christina, this could be something that you could jump in on, because, just to work out the partnership, we were going to try to support city staff more and help, because I know that it seems that there's a lot that they are tasked to do. So the one other missing piece now is figuring out a timeline. Like, when do you want the quarters to fall and when do you want the annual volunteer of the year to fall? Because we were talking about how January is not a great time for that.
And we were also talking about changing the name from hero to volunteer of the neighborhood.
Volunteer of the year.
And then also, Christina, there were a lot of information going back and forth to Brenda Mills at the time. And I had written a number of emails about persons that I'd like to have nominated for the 28804 area who had done some outstanding work. So,
sorry, Wendy.
It's just a lot of it has just fallen through the cracks.
Yeah, I think that's another reason we wanted the form, because we had also requested that either the committee or the entire group here had access to all of the submissions. So it wasn't just like one person seeing who applied, and this way there would be more transparency. And it would empower committee members to be able to start moving on some things rather than waiting for like a person to forward things on, that sort of thing.
Elizabeth, I and Mike is not here this evening, but the three of us can get together along with Christina and maybe go over that paperwork that she is looking for from Jeremy, and then we can then come together and start again and try to reorganize this. Christina, is there a possibility that you can let us know when you get a hold of that document so that we can then arrange a meeting?
Yeah, I think that's a good next step too, Wendy. So I'll put that at the front of my list and be in touch with you all about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that in new business, I had touched on a little bit of the scope of work for the NAC members. And when I said that the committee was just established to advise the city council on neighborhoods within the city of Asheville zoning and planning jurisdiction, and develop rules and bylaws for the conduct of its business, including but not limited to meeting schedules, officers, voting, and subcommittees, and just to develop a plan to strengthen neighborhoods' identity and resilience, and to have the communication, to facilitate communications between the neighborhood and the city offices, develop benchmarks and standards by which progress towards implementing the plan can be measured, and work on special projects. I know we will have a retreat. I don't know when that but at the retreat, we will set up for goals of what we want to see for our neighborhoods. And I didn't know, Christina, were you gonna add anything to that? Were you gonna speak on that? No? Okay. But that was what our scope of work is, and that we do recommendations to the city. We do have subcommittees, and we look into whatever is going on in our neighborhoods and what we want, asking our neighbors, what do they want to see for the neighborhoods? And that's what's really important, because when we report back to the city, they want to know what the people in our neighborhoods, what they're really concerned about and what they really want to see done. And so that was why that scope of work was important, that we always remember that's what we do. And I know this other part is who is the neighborhood outreach, who is your neighbor. There will be different things coming up, and I'm gonna have to step out because I do have another meeting, and I promised Sharon that I would go finish with the new business before I had to step out. But the activities that go on in your neighborhood, if you will make sure that you get that to us, because we want to start participating in other neighborhoods. Now, Thursday, at Aston Park, United Way will be celebrating 100 years. And from 4 to 6, they will be having a big event at Aston Park. So if you have a chance, go by, talk to them. They do a lot of work in different communities that you may not even know about. They do a lot of work with the children. They do a lot of work with seniors that are in assisted living. They do a great work. So if you just go by and support, let them know that, you know, your neighborhood, you don't have to stay the whole time, but just to get an idea of what neighborhoods are about, because that's what they want to engage in, all the different neighborhoods, and they want to make a connection with the people involved in the neighborhoods. And I think that would be a good part. And the last thing I think I was going to say, I do want to hear from Elizabeth about the multimodal transportation. Do you have anything on that? And then I'll tap out then.
Yes, I do. I finally was able.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I was finally able to go to my first Multimodal Transportation Commission meeting, and most of what they talked about during the meeting was the fact that as DOT is repaving all of Highway 25, all the way from Merriman through Biltmore, Broadway, all of that, we spent a lot of the time working on some bike lanes that are about on a four city block of downtown Asheville. It doesn't really affect neighborhoods as much, but we were they're proposing adding some bike lanes and restructuring from 4 to 3 on some parts of that. They were specifically talking about from College to Hilliard, and most of the discussion was around why not keep going. It seems that a lot of the members were wanting them, why can't we just go ahead and pave it or add the bike lane down further? And DOT will not allow the bike lanes further south right now than Hilliard on 25. So it's still, the hub is downtown. It's still not reaching out. There's a lot of gaps in there. They also were working on several areas around the city where we're reducing the speed limit. They're considering a citywide speed limit reduction as the default to 25 from 35. And then certain sections where the traffic flow doesn't fit the speed limit, they were lowering the speed limit because, they've put in traffic calming and different things narrow, and the speed limit would still be 35 or 45. So they're reducing several of those sections. So the whole meeting was about little tiny segments of streets. I did learn a new word, sharrows. I'm trying to learn the lingo, but the sharrows, when the DOT won't draw the bike, but we could just draw an arrow saying you're sharing the road with with bicyclists. So that's what I learned at MMTC.
I'm interested in a fact, and I'm gonna get back to you, Sharon, because I know you had your hand up. I'm interested I live on Rock Hill Road that goes through Oakley. And I know they have speed bumps in Oakley, but once you come down to School Road, because a lot of people are using this area as a shortcut, not to have to get on Hendersonville Road and the traffic's bad on Sweeten Creek. but we need some kind of speed bumps or whatever, because we've got a lot of construction for houses, so it means you've got a lot of people with more cars, and we need some speed bumps to slow people down, because and then people do walk their dogs and their children, and it's narrow, but we need something so we can deter traffic from going as fast as they do. So if you will, kind of just like keep that under your hat, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Are you talking about on School Road or just off of School Road? Or
Come down School Road all the way through the Rock Hill Road, and it ends up right there at Sweden Creek, and it's just the traffic is bad.
Yeah, I know we've talked a lot about that when people from Oakley cut through down to the river, and Stoner and East Street aren't even wide enough right now for 2 full cars if someone's parked there, but people are flying up and down, and on East Street, they've had 22 new houses built around the corner from me in the last year.
Yep, so that's what's happening to us too, so.
Yeah, thanks.
Sharon, can I let Carl say something?
Yeah, because Carl's on probably multimodal and I'm going back one.
Okay, yes, sir?
Sorry to do that, Sharon. Yeah, how do we kind of expedite or inquire more about speed bumps or potential, I think last time I mentioned that we need some sidewalks, even over here for the kids going to the high school. What is the appropriate way for me to inquire about that or to nudge? Because apparently on Walton Street, we were getting them 2 years ago and the project just died. And there's still people going 90 miles an hour on a 25 mile per hour street behind the River Arts District in Asheville High. And, y'all know where I am, basically in Livingston. So,
Sharon, I'm gonna hop out now. You got it from now?
Yes, I do. I was going to answer. Thank you, Babette.
I miss you, Greta, and I'll see you all next time. Hopefully there won't be another conflict.
You may have a much better answer, Sharon, than I do for that.
I do.
Not bad. Oh, I just missed
Bye.
Carl, where'd you go? There you are. So Eastern Valley has worked we've got bulb outs, restriping, and stoplights on MLK. And it's been a long aspect as our neighborhood, working with Chad Bandy and Ken Putnam. So if you have something already in the works, I would suggest an email to Ken Putnam and ask him if something has already come about with that, because it's taken us a couple years to get our stoplights on MLK. And I emailed Ken, he met me, we walked, and they did fund us. But you have to have funding. The neighborhood, generally, it's a neighborhood association that's involved in that, whatever the neighborhood is, which brings me back to my who is your neighbor. Like I'm in 28805 Easton Valley. It's a large neighborhood. Peter is also in 28805, and he's becoming a new neighborhood. What I have found that works with the city is being a formal neighborhood association, and know who all your neighbors are within your, like Wendy's 28804. So therefore, when you want to go do something, it may transect from your neighborhood association to somebody else's neighborhood. Like when we dealt with our stoplight, it went into White Fawn, which was another neighborhood. And therefore, you can all work together if your neighborhood meets regularly like my neighborhood does. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, Ken Putnam is your person in transportation. They can let you know if there's anything in the works for your neighborhood. But it really, really helps to get anything done, to approach it like I did. Eastern Valley wants to know what's going on with our stoplights.
Okay. Yeah, I've definitely considered the formal neighborhood association. My issue is being where I am, kind of stuck between the Walton Street housing development and Livingston housing development, as I feel that the neighbors around here aren't really interested in or able to be a part of a neighborhood committee or
an association.
Thank you. It just left me.
Yeah, I think if you
And-
chat with Peter, yeah, I had the same problem where I'm located.
Yeah, exactly. MLK did have that problem historically. And Victoria is close by, and I've found that once I joined next door that is, I think, a neighborhood. And I need to look more into that and probably reach out to Christina and Dawa regarding them. But that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that's why, unless there's more multimodal, I wanted to go back to who is your neighbor for that simple reason. So Elizabeth, I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
Wendy, was yours about the multimodal? Mine is too.
Yes, mine is about the same subject. And I'm over here on Edwin and Kimberly, and the speed limit is 25. You would never know it. They are running the red light that goes between Edwin and Kimberly all the time. And I live right at 5 Kimberly, and I can't even cross the street. What I was going to suggest is at the beginning of a neighborhood, like, for example, you're coming down Charlotte Street and you're turning left onto Edwin. If we had a banner that went across the street from side to side, and this could be a banner that could be printed and moved from neighborhood to neighborhood, but to remind the drivers that are coming into this area, this is a residential neighborhood. The speed limit is 25. So if we could have some way to catch their attention, they're in another zone. And I'm thinking if we had a big, like a banner across the street on one side and the other, just saying this, I realize that it has to be tall because we've got 18 wheelers coming down through here, going to Grove Park Inn and Ingalls. But it needs to have some. I went to Winston-Salem the other day, and I went into a neighborhood, and they have speed bumps. They've got the islands, but they've created these banners that really stood out. And if you turn on from Charlotte Street to Edwin, you'll see the speed limit sign, and above it, in small letters, it says residential. I'm thinking if we pulled that name and made it really big for people to pay attention to, maybe we can help save some of these animals that are getting killed and people trying to run across the street.
Elizabeth, may I respond to that?
Sure, yeah.
Wendy, we have sign ordinance zoning issues. So that's probably not going to fly, but you can, as a neighborhood association, we're getting, they're called cable, to go on 4 areas on MLK to count traffic and speed. And if it shows what I think it's going to show, then transportation will send a report to the police department, and then they'll add, whenever we have police again, they will add us to the list to show that there's a whole load of speeding going down MLK. As we all know, there's speeding all through the city. But instead of a banner, what you could do as a neighborhood association, draw something up that could be a sign, and like they do, like up in Bowcatcher Mountain, it's called the cleanup, whatever the sign is, and present it to, because it's a zoning, and present it to zoning and say, we as a neighborhood would like to have this up to let everybody know they're in a neighborhood, and present it to them, and then they can approve it, because all of that is a zoning issue. So it's got to go through, and I can tell you who that can go through. But my experience with doing this and being on CAN as well is neighborhoods as a whole have a whole lot more clout. Eastern Valley has, we've been working on it for years. We don't let anything go. We keep bugging them. And it's been 4 years that we've been working on our stoplights. So it's persistence. And then knowing what our zoning is, what we can and cannot do. So it's not that it's a bad idea. I think it's a good idea, Wendy. It's just you have to know what you're able to do. So
And I think from what I understand as far as the process, and I know this more from Michael Stratton, who was the MMTC liaison to our Oakley Neighborhood Association before, is that we have inquired about several traffic calming measures, and we're told there's a very long line. People will call in and a very long process. But what I would like to do is clarify who the person is. Sharon, you said Ken Putnam. Do you know what his title is? Because there were several other people on the call with the city.
At AshevilleNC.gov. I'll have to look that up.
And so he's still in, because the people that I was aware of, Jessica Morris is in the transportation department, and Amy Tesner was the city liaison. And I'm not sure if their roles are different from Ken's.
Ken is the head of transportation. Ken is the one that he won't help you organize it, but he'll let you know. Like I contacted him and said, it's been 2 years. Where's our blah, blah, blah. And we worked directly with Chad Bandy when we did our calming bulb outs that I helped plant out with our neighborhood. So everything has been a process for the last, I'm going to say 6 years. So Ken Putnam was the one where I sent an email, where is this? Because we were sending it to Chad and Chad was not responding because it wasn't in his area. But when you're starting brand new, then it would be one of the liaison people. Or if it's a zoning thing like Wendy was doing, it would go to Ricky Hurley in zoning. And
I will try to get some clarity on that, like the flow chart, if they're, what they expect from the neighborhoods, if they're going to put together a request. And
yeah, it's Kate Putnam at AshevilleNC.gov.
Because I have Jessica's.
Yeah. So, but in the beginnings of this, you work with whomever is at that level of when you start working. With us, it was engineering, and then it went to Ken.
Okay.
Because traffic calming is engineering. And it took us about 3 years to get our bulb outs, I think.
What are you saying? You said that earlier. What are you saying?
Bulb outs. Bulb outs are traffic calming. They're like going on Kimberly, those little islands that jet out in the middle of the street. Those are called bulb outs. And they put plants in them.
I'm learning new vocabulary all the time. Sparrows and bulb outs.
Yeah, they're supposed to calm traffic, but they don't. We've had several of them rolled over and the plants killed, and we've had to replant them. And it's not slowing anybody down. It's just narrowed the road down, and it's just it wasn't a good idea in my opinion, and I'm the one that maintains them. But that's what brings me to who is your neighbor for people like Carl. And I do know that I've talked about this with Mike Wassner. Not everybody knows who their neighborhood associations are in the area that they represent. And is everybody in a neighborhood association, and do they need help with forming and becoming a neighborhood association? Because that's what gives the neighborhoods, when you get a plan on a page, you get the vision plan, that's what gives us clout to protect our neighborhoods or have a say when the city gets a good idea or when we want to do something. We're better collectively as a voice than we are individually. So I'm probably going to carry that theme over again and again when we have time to figure out how are we going to know who needs help forming as a formal neighborhood, and do they need help, and do they need to know how to get a hold of Christina and fill out all the paperwork and the boundaries, and what does a plan on a page look like, and a vision plan, and all those things that go with being a neighborhood association that Peter is really well aware of, having just done all of that.
Still working on that.
Yeah. Is that due to your neighborhood or all the paperwork?
Oh, it's just, I haven't had any feedback about it. Actually, I was going to send an email to Christina later just to follow up since Dawa isn't here. I'm just waiting to hear it may need some modification. It may need some, I may have messed up one area or whatever, but I haven't heard anything. So maybe I'll get with Christina by email and see if I can get that going. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I think that's Wendy.
Yes, I was just going to ask if we could have Christina's email address.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
So it's K Israel, like the country, ISRAEL at asheville.nc.gov.
All right, are we ready for agenda item number 9? Does anybody want to talk about what their what's going on in their neighborhood or what they want to share on Greta?
I'm very excited to share. So we officially have a new board for our reestablished neighborhood association. Oh, I guess I can go on. Yay.
Yay. Yay. Good work.
And guess what? I'm not on it. Yay. I rotated off the temporary board on Saturday. We had a little get together with there's 3 of us not continuing on, and then there's 2 new board members. So they have lots of ideas and we've got new blood and people who were on the last association. So it's going to be really good. It's exciting. I feel like I don't have kids, so I feel like a mother must feel when their child takes its first steps after all the work.
What's the name of it?
It's Parkway Forest Neighborhood Association.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's really exciting. And Christina, they're going to self-nominate their officers. So once they have a president, then I will introduce you just to have a contact there. And then maybe you could take my name off the city's website.
Yeah, just send me a nudge about that, but absolutely.
Okay.
Well,
Awesome. So that's exciting.
Yeah, very
Our
exciting.
little corner of the city over here.
How many blocks is it?
It's about 180 houses. We have loops. So it's it's like 2 dead ends and 2 loops. There's only like 2 ways into the neighborhood. So it's pretty there's not any through traffic, which is great.
That's good. That's a lot of houses, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty tight knit, and we're getting a lot of new people in the neighborhood, which is also exciting. So yeah, it's nice.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to share in their neighborhood? Wendy.
Well, I've been busy. So I help clean up trash and leaves over at Grace Community over at the Claremont Avenue when they're working on their grant to replace a fence that they have requested. And so we were doing a cleanup day and getting ready for the fence to be installed. So it's real exciting. They were just very happy to get this new fence put in place. I helped Norwood Park judge their neighborhood properties to help award the prettiest garden in their neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
That was lots of fun. So I've been trying to do different things in each of the neighborhoods that I have. Bob Deutsch, who is over at Lakeview Park, he's the president over there. He told me that they are working hard on planting the 22 trees around Beaver Lake. So it's real exciting to listen to them. I'm also helping the Grove Park Association with an upcoming yard sale that we're going to have on July 23rd. And it's going to be at the E.W. Grove, Charlotte Street, and Macon Avenue from 8 to noon. So that's something for the whole neighborhood to be able to set up a table and sell their junk that they don't want anymore. I have a real big issue that's happening, and I just want to read you what I have put together. we have talked about this in the past, the Grace community losing their park, their playground that was torn down over at Jones, R.B. Jones Elementary School. It was built in 1999, and the Asheville City Schools tore it down without any announcement or plan to rebuild. And this was built by the community. The community went in and they built this structure. They paid for the structure and everything. And Asheville City Schools was taking over the liability of it because it was part of their land, and they agreed to do that. But they took it upon themselves to tear this down without any reason and not letting anyone know. Well, since this, they have raised $311,000 to rebuild the Jones Park playground, and the city is reluctant to provide the long-term maintenance, and therefore it's in limbo. The community has a petition with over 600 signatures supporting this project. This was discussed at the May 24th meeting, and it will be discussed again at tomorrow's city council meeting, which I plan to be there. The city states that they don't have the dollars to maintain the structure and that Buncombe Parks and Rec would have to take it over. It's ironic, though, that the playground structure over in Montford community was built in 2019, 20 years after the Jones Park structure, and is being maintained by the city at a cost of $1,500 for the first 10 years. And then it jumps to $3,500 to $5,000 annually for the next 10 years after that. The community is extremely upset with the city, Asheville City and the city, and saying that it's hard to get anything done and there's so much red tape that you have to jump through hurdles, and it continues to delay and delay. And I just would like to see something to help them. I mean, it's just so sad. This is a terrible, terrible situation. Yes, Sharon.
So you know that it's more complicated than that, right? It's owned by Buncombe County, the city schools, and we're asking the city to take it over to maintain it when they don't own it. So the problem with this all the way along is it was deemed unsafe because it was never maintained, is we have three entities involved in this. We have the city schools, Buncombe County, and we're asking Asheville City to take it over as a park. So that's why there's so much red tape on it. There's been numerous articles on the problem with this and trying to get the city to designate it as a park. And so I suggested everybody that's all familiar with this to listen to it. There's lots of information on it, and write letters in support if you're in support of it, but it's extremely complicated. And it would be so much easier if the city owned the property, but they do not. Buncombe County owns the property, and city schools were the ones that used to maintain it. So that's where the rub comes in. So if you listen to the council meeting, I'm not sure what they're going to do with this and how they're going to do it. And it's a Parks Department funding issue. The city has to come up with the funding in order to take it over on a regular maintenance. And the Parks Department does not have any money to add anything else on their maintenance. And this is, I mean, it would be so much easier if we could just buy it and donate it and do it that way. But there's just three entities involved in it. And that's why it's such a mess.
It is, it's just so.
It's a huge mess.
It's
yeah.
a huge mess. And
Yeah.
the problem is that the only park that they have now is the one over here at Weaver Park. And they had an infant toddler structure at the Jones Park. So now all the infants and toddlers, all they have over at Weaver Park is a sandbox.
Yeah.
Well, you would not believe the amount of cats and dogs that go to the bathroom in this sandbox.
Right.
No
Well,
cover. And it's just
Yeah.
appalling.
the problem is it's not city owned. And that's the problem right there.
Weaver
It's-
Park is not city owned?
no, Jones Park.
Oh,
It's not a park.
yeah, but.
And it
Weaver
was
Park
part of the
is
city
just park.
schools, and Buncombe County deals with the city schools, and that's where this whole mess comes in. So
It is heartbreaking.
yeah, it's one of those things that it takes an attorney to unwind it, actually. But thank you for bringing us up to date on Jones Park. Anybody else have any updates in their neighborhood? Elizabeth.
Oakley had their second Open Streets Oakley on June 12th. I was not there, but I heard it was great, and it was much bigger than last year's August one. A lot more people involved, a lot more people came, and one of the things that we've talked about is we do that down on Thompson to try to get people to slow down. That's another one of those long stretches of road by the river. We were kicking around the idea of pace cars, like somebody putting a sign on the back of their car saying Oakley neighborhood pace car and going the speed limit and just at 5 o'clock, 5:15.
I do that on MLK. I go really slow and everybody's on my butt as I go up MLK.
Yeah. But yeah, they had a lot of businesses tuned in and Asheville on bikes and a lot of, even though the Greenway is not going to go on Thompson Street anymore, trying to get people used to the idea that once the Greenway starts to go from Biltmore Avenue over to Rec Park, that there's going to be a lot more people and pets and kids in that general area by Swananoa River. So, and I want a tree, even though I wasn't there. I want a tree. So
put it in the ground and water it. Thank you, Elizabeth. I have one if nobody else does. Easton Valley has their Street Community Heritage Festival, August 27. It says, please join us for a day of fun devoted to families and friends. It says, churches historically have always been leaders in communities. We are hoping that your church will support our effort to make this a successful venture. The Neighborhood Community Heritage Festival will take place in the Martin Luther King Park. Easton Valley is the first African-American settled neighborhood in Asheville, North Carolina. And today, Easton is the home to several ethnic groups. Before COVID, it was a 3-day or 4-day affair. And you can contact me. Alberta is the person that's in charge of this. And it was great. We had vendors. I bought some jewelry with food, music at MLK Park. So it was really a great fun party. And that's August 27th. So take a note. And then, as I stated before, Easton Valley, we're getting down in South Charlotte and MLK, we're getting a stoplight. And if there's enough money left over, we're getting a stoplight at a little higher at Hazard and MLK for people, because we have a lot of walkers, and MLK is taking your life in your own hands when you try to cross it. So, and there's other things going on in 28805, and I'm sorry, I wish I knew what they were, and I hope that I'll get out and find out who my new neighborhood associations are in 28805 and bring back somebody else other than my neighborhood. So that's it for me. Any more on anything going on neighborhoods? All right, so I think that brings us to 10 agenda items for next or upcoming meetings. Now, Chris Collins is coming to explain TRC. I'm on the technical review committee, and I'm the one that has been wanting this because Brenda, when you have a level 2 or up development come through, you have a neighborhood meeting. The neighborhood meeting within 200 feet of the construction, the neighbors come in, look at the plans, make comments to the developers or the whomever is there representing the applicant. And if it's a formal meeting minutes that is submitted with the application as the development goes through its processes. I said that we need a neighborhood representative to state when there's something that is really going against the grain of what the neighborhood wants, or if there's something the neighborhood really is liking, and it should be represented at a technical review committee. And so Brenda, in her short tenure at that point in time, was making comments on the neighborhood meetings that were coming through, especially on the larger developments. And she would say the neighborhood was not so in favor of this development, or the neighborhood had no major complaints about a development. It was short and sweet, but she did make a comment advising the technical review committee that goes on to planning and zoning that may go on to council. Some do, some don't, depending on the level of the development. So I'm, now that Brenda's been gone, I'm suggesting that we need someone on technical review committee. And I asked to please, can we have Chris Collins, who could come explain the whole process, and then see if there was a way that we can include NAC as a person to make comments on the staff reports as they go through. So he was supposed to make this meeting, but the city, as we all know, is just swamped. So that, I'm hoping, makes some sort of sense. Any questions on that? On staff reports or neighborhood meetings, or what that's all about, or no? Elizabeth.
Yes, Christina, I wrote down, I think you were talking about, or someone was talking about this thing at Aston Park for United Way. Was that you?
No, that was Bobette.
Yeah, Bobette.
Oh, what time was that? Did anybody catch that?
I looked it up actually. And
I've got 4 to 6 in my notes on Sunday.
Okay,
yeah, correct.
thanks.
Any other questions before we talk about our annual retreat? Now, I don't know why it says May 23rd. I'm confused.
I think it was just left over from the last agenda, that date stuck on there, but.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I was a new person when we had our annual retreat last time. So Bobette's not here, and she's been involved in a couple of these. I have not. I don't know.
I didn't have any idea.
Greta, I was hoping, Greta, you'd say something. Greta, help me.
Are we trying to figure out what we're supposed to, like, what it's about?
What? How about when?
Oh, okay. So historically, the committee used to take July. Let's see. I think it was in June, and they would take July off because summers are crazy and most people would miss a meeting anyway in the summer.
Yeah,
or it's the other way around. And so the retreat either bookended the year or started the year. I don't remember.
Well, I got one that says April 26, 2021.
Well, so we did do it in April because COVID messed everything up, and then we did it virtually. Yeah. So I think we did not have one. Well, we definitely did not have one in 2020. And then as far as I remember, I don't have a great memory. Warning. So, and then we did it virtually in April. It was productive in April, but there wasn't as much brainstorming as usual. Like what we used to do is a portion of the retreat would be something actually fun and informative. So, sorry. What is his name?
Jeremy?
No, this was way back before I moved away to Syracuse. The last retreat I had gone to, Dwayne, who started. Huh?
Dwayne Barton?
Maybe. Yes. He used to be on NAC. Yeah, so he gave us a tour of, well, our retreat was at the Burton Street Community Center. And then he gave us a tour of the neighborhood and the garden and told us the history of the neighborhood. So that was like the fun, informative component. And then we broke out into work groups, and we each had different like assignments to come up with goals that we wanted to have in the coming year that aligned with city council's broader goals.
Yeah, because I'm looking at 5 to 7 on April 26th, and we had bylaw revisions, urban centers, open space, regions in the Asheville, city of Asheville role for at-large members, IDs to increase neighborhood registration, attendance at other boards and commissions. So it was all online. So I think now that I'm hearing you say that, maybe we need to have a vote on whether we want to meet in person or whether we want to do another virtual meeting, I think, is because we can't do hybrids yet. I'm hoping hybrids enter our world, but it doesn't look like they're going to anytime soon for boards and commissions like us, you know.
So can I make a suggestion? I don't know if the city is open to this, but Habitat for Humanity has a conference room, and they have new technology. They use these things, they're called owls. So they're these little pods that sit on the tables, and they actually make a hybrid meeting really run well. So they have like a big screen, so everyone who's zooming in, their faces show up there, but so do the people around the tables. So like when you talk, the thing like zooms on you. So it's kind of seamless that way. And so if you wanted to do hybrid, maybe, I mean, they do rent out their conference room to the public, so maybe you could have it there instead.
So this is what I've been told, that we have the capability to do it, that they're just not wanting to do it.
Oh.
That is what I've heard.
Christina now.
Yeah. And so I don't know, as a boards and commissions, whether we could, first of all, we probably don't have any money to rent out a room.
It's only like $25 or something low.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but it's low.
Right. So I don't know if we have any restrictions. I can't see why not, but I do know that we have the capability of doing hybrid. It's just not been available to us to use.
Got it. Okay.
But I don't know why. I don't know if it's the technical aspects, like we've got Christina and Dan, and they have to participate in that. So therefore, it's not viable for us. But if Habitat for Humanity has it pre-set up, I don't know why that would be a problem. I couldn't see why that would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So shall we, I don't know, should we discuss this more? What time is it? Oh, we're doing pretty good time-wise.
I could see if I have any old documents.
Where is this located? This particular conference room?
It's at their offices on Meadow Road, 33.
On Meadow Road, yeah.
I mean, for the city, they, might let you use it for free. I'm sure something could be worked out. The city's a pretty good partner to them.
Yeah, the city is a very good partner. Well, seeing how we've got Dawa on vacation and our fearless leader is gone. I mean, how does it sound to everybody that's here? Do we want to do in person to do our retreat, or are we happy with Peter?
So I would love to do an in-person retreat. I find maybe I'm old-fashioned or something, but as realistic as this is, I really feel an invisible shield between me and everybody here, and there are situations where what you can't see as far as body language and just direct discussion. So I would definitely love to get together. Just once is fine. And you had mentioned about bookending. just as a relatively new person, I'd love to see something like this at the beginning of the year. I don't know if that's September or August, or I don't know how the year goes unless it's January or whatever, but something to meet and say, okay, here are the things we want to try to accomplish, and then just get to know you folks a little bit. I mean, I know Sharon somewhat and met her for the first time last week.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that just really helps me. I'm just speaking for myself. Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. I think Wendy, you're shaking your head. You agree as well. Yeah, and Elizabeth, you agree?
Agree 100%.
Yeah, me too. How about Carl? Do you have an opinion? Yeah.
Well, thumbs up.
So maybe what we should do is talk about what we want to meet about and talk about, because it, when we all meet together, it could go on ad infinitum. And if we have certain topics we want to meet and go over and break up into, then we can meet and then have a good agenda, as opposed to trying to figure out an agenda. Greta.
I did just find the agenda for the 2019 retreat, so I'll forward that to you and Babette and Christina.
Okay, thank you.
That helps.
Yeah. I found one for 2021, but because it was COVID and it was online, it was just pretty much, bare bones. It'd be nice to formulate, find out how our bylaws are working, or because we did bylaws that year and I've not even looked at our bylaws. So,
Yeah.
And then maybe the next meeting, if we can carry over the agenda, we can talk about what month we want to do this. If we want to meet in person, let's not make it so bloody cold. Let's make it before it gets that cold and I got to bundle up. So
it might actually be in the bylaws when the retreat is supposed to be.
Oh, well, I could read the bylaws, when all else.
Bill had those things memorized, so he would always keep us on task. But
who is this?
Joe.
Oh, Joe. Oh, yeah, right, Joe.
Yeah, he knew it inside and out. Probably
yes, he did.
He either wrote them or edited. He definitely edited them.
Yes, he did. All right. Well, I'll read the bylaws, and at the next meeting, I'll come up with what I found out on that, and then we can maybe get on the agenda. What do we want to have on our retreat? Wendy.
Just wanted to confirm, are we going to have a meeting in July because of so many vacations and everything is happening? Or do we want to postpone until August?
I guess Greta said we didn't have one last year in July.
That's right.
Sorry, I missed that. My husband was talking to me.
We didn't have one in July last year, meeting because of vacations and et cetera, et cetera.
All right. Well, I don't know. Time is such a mess. I don't know.
It is.
Was it last April?
Well, I'm talking about July. Wendy brought up, did we not have a meeting in July?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't either. I'll have to look at my notes.
I'm almost sure we didn't have one in July because I don't have any minutes from that or any in my book. So
let's see.
Well, that would have to be decided at this meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm looking on the city's website, and there was a meeting on July 26th last year.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Was it August? Was there one in August?
There was. There was not a meeting in December, but other than that, there was a meeting, it looks like every month.
Except April of 2022.
That was a retreat.
I'm looking at 2021. Yeah, April was the 2021 retreat.
Yeah, I was thinking April 22, we didn't have a meeting.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because the retreat was April 26th.
Okay.
So, I mean, I personally don't see a reason not to have a meeting. especially considering with the boards and commissions restructuring. I'd like to have us be a real viable, personally, board and commission that is giving the council what they want, and we don't look like one of those commissions that's redundant. I mean, I think it's real important right now that if a board and commission wants to exist, that we show that we're a good part of the community and a good part of the structure. And I'm on all those subcommittees. Peter.
So I just took a quick look at some of the documents Brenda had sent me when I joined, and they do mention retreats, but they that you are to have one each year, but they don't say when. They don't specify a month or anything like that. So I guess it's up to us.
Well, I need to read the bylaws, as Greta stated. I think if we're going to do this, I need to read the bylaws before I make a comment on it, having not read the bylaws, I hate to say. But I think our topic of discussion right now is, do we want to have a meeting next month? And I don't see any conflicts. Does anybody have any conflicts to not having a meeting next month? So I'm thinking, Wendy, we'll just go ahead and have a meeting in July, if that works with everybody. And that way we don't have to make this decision without Dawa and without Bobette.
Good.
That make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm. So we'll
Yes.
table the retreat after you read the bylaws to see, and then we'll make that decision at our next meeting.
At our next meeting, yeah, and I'll read the bylaws.
Great.
Anybody have any other comments on anything before we adjourn? I can't believe we're adjourning early. I don't think that's happened. Greta, I'm going to miss you. You were my anchor, so
Thank you.
have fun.
I'll miss sharing my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to miss your opinion.
I don't know if everybody else will, but
Yeah.
I will definitely miss you. It's been a long time.
yeah.
You kept us in the
Carl, you can fill in. What's that, Wendy?
You kept us in the straight and narrow.
Tried.
You did a
I
good job.
always have questions for sure.
Yeah, it's good to have questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I wish everybody the best, and I hope that it's as everybody I think would agree, it was rough with COVID, not meeting for most of 2020, and then as Peter mentioned, we haven't all ever been in the same room, I don't think. So I hope that it gets better, and that
And thank you for the
be a little
habitat.
bit more effective like we used to be.
Yeah, and thank you for the habitat. We'll check into that and see what we can do. And I agree. I think we're all in agreement. We need to meet in person.
Yeah. I'm gonna send an email when this finishes with some info for the neighborhood volunteer of the year. And maybe on the agenda there for the retreat, we could be thinking about the festival that got canceled when COVID happened.
Yeah.
That going, that'd be great.
That would be great.
What festival?
We used to do a neighborhood festival. So we would invite all the different neighborhood associations, and every year it looked different. Sometimes there were informational sessions that neighborhood leaders could go to get ideas and share ideas. And there were also tabling opportunities. So all the neighborhoods could set up information about their association and their neighborhood history. And you could walk around and everyone could learn about the different neighborhoods in Asheville. And it was a great networking opportunity for the leaders. Because it's always nice to have support.
Absolutely. That's fun. I was already my brain was kind of thinking we needed some type of networking activities just between even our neighborhoods on this panel. Enough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so that was sorely missed. Yeah. It was like all ready to go and planned and everything. I think Bobette was on the committee. Was anybody else here on the planning committee at the time? Okay. So she could fill you in, but yeah.
Cool.
Feel free to reach out if you want any historical data.
Yeah.
You're not going to delete it.
Yeah.
I would say it's all up here, but it's not.
Okay, well, thank you. I don't know, do we have to sign out formally? At UFC, we have to sign out formally. Do we have to sign out formally here?
A motion to adjourn, maybe?
Have a motion to adjourn. Can we all disagree, or do we have to verbally vote on it?
Raise your
We just need
hand.
a second.
Okay,
I second.
a second and all in agreement. Thank you for a great meeting. Thank you, Christina.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye, Greta.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Greta.